The NFL concussion return to play protocol. So I have a lot of beef with this protocol, and I have always. Now, the day I'm recording this is October 3rd, 2022. So the most recent big significant thing in the NFL was Tua Tagovailoa took what looked like a concussion on a Sunday against the Buffalo Bills. And then he took another one definitive on Thursday. So not even a week after that hit, going against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the NFL has fired the independent medical provider. I don't know why the Miami Dolphins provider somehow scapegoating this whole thing, but I'm not going to make that about this. I'm going to explain why I don't like the protocol and why I never have, and why it's actually dangerous. And so first, let's get started. So really, the NFL return to play protocol is completely based on absence of symptoms and your ability to increase what you do without symptoms. Now, there's no minimum timetable. So it's not as if you get a concussion, you automatically are out for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or anything like that. Now, the other part of the NFL return to play guidelines is completely based upon neuropsychological testing, which, as I'm going to show you, while it's important, it is not a complete evaluation and should never be confused for one. So at this point in time, I'm going to share my screen with you and review different things. So what you're seeing here is this is from Portland State University, and this is ultimately what, it's called the dynamics of concussion. So from the time you take the initial impact, okay, you get this change, and ultimately it leads to all sorts of dysregulation from sodium, potassium, and different things like that. You've got inflammation, you've got energy-based issues, you can get accidental injury, right? You can have stress that impacts the brain, but also you've got musculoskeletal pain, so that impacts it. You've got sleep patterns, right? So you've got all of this. This is very complex. So from the very beginning, we can see going off of symptoms alone is very faulty. And there's actually research that shows that people that were symptom-free by 8 days, their brain was worse at 30 days compared to 8 days when using advanced imaging that unfortunately is only available in research settings. But here's one of the studies I want to show you. So this is Giza, okay? So Dr. Christopher Giza of, I believe is UCLA, he's one of the gurus out there on concussion. And he's written many papers on concussion. Now, what I want you to think about, right? So one of the things that happens is there's this increased need for glucose utilization, and ultimately that impacts animals for at least 7 to 10 days. Now, you've got to think about this. Typically, when things impact animals for a set period of time, we have to add to that. And that's what it really does to humans due to a life expectancy. Just because, well, we live a lot longer than rats do. Next, though, right? Diminished signals, okay, were detected in concussed athletes, which took 30 days to return to baseline. These abnormalities showed a longer time to recovery, 45 days in the subset of athletes who sustained a second concussion before full metabolic recovery. So you've got to think about this. So let's take Tua Tagovailoa, right? It's going to be 45 days, most likely, till his brain is back to where it was before he took that hit. And that's just purely from a metabolic standpoint. That has nothing to do with how his brain's connecting. So if we're looking at this and saying, what is really a safe return? It's going to be after this window. And if someone takes any concussion at all, it should be the 30 days. So going purely based off symptoms and the ability to increase without issues is very dangerous. Now, the thing is, they use the NFL as a guideline for everything, right? But you think about this, the NFL, if someone has a suspicion of a fracture, they have x-ray equipment right there. But yet we don't have equipment to look at balance and eye movements. I'm sorry, doing these shoddy balance and eye movement testing on the sideline or in the tent, okay? You know what wins is actually using technology. You've got goggles you wear and it records the eyes. It's not even that you have to make them do that on the sideline. but you should have baseline screening of what's happening with their eye movements and their balance. That way you're truly comparing it. If not, you're just like, oh, well, looked at it. Okay, that was okay. Doesn't look bad enough to be a bleed, but you don't really know where they were at. So that's a big issue. I've seen the UFC call off fights for much less than Tua Tagovailoa was allowed to go and return playing. Okay. If someone looks like they may have taken a concussion, you always err on the side of safety and you pull them out. I work with a lot of people that have sports concussions, but also car accident concussions. And one of the things I can tell you is when you have a lot of adrenaline, your symptoms are typically less because guess what? You've got your adrenaline, and it's typically the next day is where they end up having an increase, or it's later in the day compared to when the concussion occurred. So, but let's get this right. So outcomes in patients with mild traumatic brain injury without acute intracranial traumatic injury. Okay. This is JAMA, Journal of the American Medical Association. Now, what they found was they looked at 6-month recovery times. Okay. A lot of people hadn't recovered. 56% had incomplete recovery. 56%. Now, this is of those that go to the emergency room. So you say maybe this is slanted, but there's other research that also backs this up based upon the emergency room data. It's nearly 50% aren't recovered. But then we also have a lot of people that aren't getting the follow-ups they need. So 42% received education at discharge, 44% reported seeing a practitioner within 3 months. But with those who have moderate to severe, only 52% reported seeing a practitioner within 3 months. So the NFL should be the standard for all sports, right? If the NFL is not doing it right, how do we expect everything else? This isn't only impacting the NFL players who are making millions and millions of dollars and are probably going to have some lawsuits again over this, but this is impacting college kids, high school kids, and even middle school kids that are playing football, soccer, lacrosse, hockey, and things like that. So the NFL can't get this wrong again. It's time to evolve. If it's something that's completely only based upon symptoms and return to play, maybe they're being a little bit more cautious in who they pull out. That is very dangerous for the things we've talked about. So let me know, what do you think about this, right? Is the NFL right? Are they wrong? Is there a way this should have been handled that allow it to be better? And ultimately, let me know, right? What questions do you have? Has your kid or a loved one suffered a concussion? Because there's too many long-term risks to keep someone in the game if they should be out. I do this all the time whenever I return patients back to work. I prefer to return them slower and to be safe than to go too fast and to create a flare-up. Guess what? Because if they go safe and they're okay, perfect. If you create a flare-up, you don't know what it takes to get them out of that flare-up. So once again, I'm Dr. Zimmerman. I hope you found this information highly useful. Concussions are one of the most common things I see. And for far too long, the NFL return to play protocol has driven me nuts because, in my opinion, it's not science-based. It's based upon outdated information that's really geared to getting the player back to the game as fast as possible while ignoring what's truly happening in the brain that's setting them up for long-term failure and increased risk of dementia. There's a reason why 99% of the brains that go to the bank, okay, where they do the research for CTE have CTE. And it's because they're not doing things right. They're letting people play when they shouldn't. So once again, comment, let me know what you think about this. What are your opinions? Do you like the NFL return and play protocol? Do you think it's a joke? So yeah,